There it is.
I have no idea. You have to tell me. You're in control. You're pushing the buttons.
I clicked the button. It was just extra spinny tonight.
You're extra tonight.
Extra that we got this wonderful live episode. Thank you everybody for who's joining us tonight. We really do appreciate your comments and participation. So much ado for that.
Yeah. Hey, this is our last stream before Christmas. So for those of you that celebrate it, have a merry, happy, wonderful Christmas, folks. Hopefully all of you are at least in the holiday cheer mood. I love this time of season for that very reason. I see Christmas time no matter
mood.
Well, I see that no matter what persuasion you are, generally it is the time of year that you're a better version of yourself for at least a short while.
Or at least can pretend to be, around.
You know what? The Japanese taught me that.
Yeah.
It was very interesting living in Japan. And it took me a while to wrap my head around the fact that they're disingenuous quite often, like on purpose. That is just the way their society is. And what I mean by that is, all right, let's say probably even in your
hold on. We're getting into it tonight, boys and girls. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button before we get demonetized.
Right? So be holiday-ish and hit that like and subscribe, and maybe even donate $1 a month to us by becoming a member and catching some extra content and having some extra bennies. It's $1 a month, folks. At any rate, in connection with the holiday spirit and all that stuff, and you talking about at least pretending to be like that, it reminds me, like I said, of the Japanese. You'll never know if they don't like you. To your face, they'll be, "Oh, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, you're a great guy, you're handsome, you smell good," all that stuff to your face. And then the second, they turn away, they may say, "God, I can't stand that stinky fuck." But it bothered me at first, like especially from Ohio. I don't know if you were here long enough to really grasp that people are truly salt of the earth here. Like, they won't be outwardly rude if you don't deserve being rude, but they won't be outwardly nice if you don't deserve being outwardly nice. They're just
right. Yeah.
I moved back here on purpose and not from here because I liked how real the people are. Like, I grew up down in South Florida in Boca Raton, where people are just, I call them plastic people. You're only as good as your wallet, right? Like, it's awful. It's terrible. And out on the West Coast, I think that's just Delulu land. Everything.
Oh, dear sweet
west
God.
West
it
of
is
Colorado.
One of my favorite SNL bits, though, the Californians. Oh my God. How did you get here so fast, Ricky?
It's not just California, it's Oregon, it's Washington, it's even
they got some special problems.
Dude, there's something like in the air or water or something to the west of Colorado. But at any rate, I don't know that they're disingenuous there. They're just the bit off center for you West Coast folks. Like, it's just for me. That's why I moved back east.
It seems
but
like
in Japan, for a long time, it bothered me that they were not genuine to your face. But over time, it dawned on me that just keeps things pleasant. It keeps things from devolving into territories where they just shouldn't be. Hence, go stand in any line of any Walmart and just see things evolve.
White lies are kind of the grease of society. It really helps a lot of just like, next time I go see my sister, she's going to remind me of a Norwegian breed of cow, mostly because of her weight and size. But I'm not going to say those things to her.
Wow.
Right? I'm going to be nice.
She doesn't watch our show.
Oh God. She didn't watch anything but the bottom of a chip bag. I'm kidding.
Wow. Zing. Well, at any rate, to your point, cheers to all you that can fake it long enough to make other people feel good for the holiday season.
I like your mug there.
Speaking about faking it till you make it, I've been watching a number of content creators. Man, I think you nailed it You probably summed up the TCG world in the most succinct, best possible way with your short that you don't know shit. I don't know shit. Nobody knows shit about any of it. But
Yep.
I'm watching all these hypotheses with Rudy saying, "Oh, it's opportunity time," and then this Gone Rogue. You ever watch that guy? He's a store owner.
Yeah, Gone Rogue Games.
Talking about how
he's got an interesting take. I usually disagree with him on like
feels like such a
5% of his stuff, but it's always an interesting aspect of it. Like I watched this guy in New York, Millennial Gaming. I think he has the physically largest gaming store in the United States. And his take on stuff is completely detached from like Gone Rogue Games because it's like so mom and pop, so starter up. Whereas like Millennium, he literally bought like warehouse space so he could turn it into play space. So yeah.
Well, I feel like the Gone Rogue guy, he sees his little tiny corner and feels that that's the meta, right? That's like there's nobody that can even pretend, not even Wizards of the Coast. I can tell you that. I can promise you that from talking with their muckety mucks at M30, right? That they don't even have a real grip on exactly how people are. They would love to, but they don't. And what I mean by that is, you know, folks, I think we've said it best here, and I'm going to stick with my guns. Stick to my guns that buy what you want, buy what appeals to you. Don't. I'm going to praise it all over the place to say, unless you have the money to gamble away, don't speculate on any of it. Right?
That's right there.
It's a game, right? So if you get stuck with it and it's a game and you like playing it, or just like me, I like to look at it. It's pretty shiny paper on my shelves.
But you know, that's kind of one of the things that I was so surprised about in our conversation last week about one of the things that you think could be an improvement for Diablo 4 was a real life auction house where there is that monetary interaction. And I'm surprised because for you for so very long, there has been a very clear line of Magic is fun. It's not about the money aspect. You don't resell anything. It's conversational when it comes up. You're aware of it, but I don't think you pay a whole lot of attention to it.
I do insofar as it's a collectible. Anybody who else thinks that Magic is not a collectible, and I would almost even argue that it's a collectible first. The reason I say it's a collectible first and not a game first, look at how many games, i.e. Hero Realms. How much fun did you have playing Hero Realms? Was it as fun as most Magic games?
Yeah.
Okay, so the fun factor of playing a card game, kind of equivalent between Magic and something like Hero Realms. And you could even see where maybe there's a game that could come out that comes out with just cardboard that could even be more fun to you than Magic. Would you agree with that? So it's not about
I think realistically a playing card deck, just your regular 52.
So why is it that we cover Magic far more than other fun card games to play on our channel? And why are there so many more channels that cover Magic and
it's
Pokemon?
The money aspect of it.
Like, is Pokemon, are they covering it because of the game?
No, that's like, straight
that's
up.
Almost a meme.
I don't think I've ever seen a video for Pokemon gameplay, but with the crossover that we have just in general with trading card stuff, it's just in the sphere, right? It's in general zeitgeist. But I will see incredible amounts of people ripping packs, shorts with 1 million views on it, and it's just some guy with big Diglett thumbs going through a Pokemon pack really fast, right? I've never seen any Pokemon gameplay at all advertised. Surprisingly, opposite for Yu-Gi-Oh! I only ever see like gameplay stuff for Yu-Gi-Oh! I think maybe because my search history, though.
But all those still are collectibles. Now, let's argue, how many wrappers have you seen people rip of Hero Realms? Or Star Realms?
I think maybe just the one time. Like, if you bought it new, that was the time I've ever seen it.
No, I'm talking about videos.
No.
How many gameplay videos?
No.
How many channels do you see devoted to Hero Realms? But again, my point is, as far as a game goes, it's just as fun as Magic.
Me.
It's not as diverse. It's not as broad because it's a deck builder.
A degree of personalization either.
My point is, you don't have channels covering it because there's no financial allure. So even though I'm a collector, probably first, and I'm aware of the financial value, and I do track the financial value. We talk about it a lot here. I talk more about financial responsibility than I do about financial value of Magic on our channel. I think I always have. Like, I try to, spread the holiday cheer all year with, hey, you're going to feel a lot better if you don't get leveraged, if you don't get stuck buying $1,000 worth of product and end up selling it, and at the end of the day, you're $800 behind.
Yeah, jeez. It's totally true though, because you can't selling it for the same price that you bought it at, which isn't even true. Like let's say you buy M30, just easy product, round number. You buy it at $1,000 sticker price. Okay, sure. Cool. Taxes and shipping. What are you actually paying? When you sell it, if you're selling it for that $1,000, right out the gate, you're losing. So you've got to sell it for that adjusted price, that
at least $1,100
or whatever, right? Okay, and then you're losing all out on fees.
Oh no, you'd have to sell it for more like $1,300.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
Yeah, and that's just
that's to maybe make $100, maybe.
And that's just a huge gamble. I mean, just buy index funds, S&P 500, baby.
Well, but here's what people really don't talk about, and whether it's investing in gold, investing in stamps, investing in even crypto.
Pippin coin, where we at?
There's a thing called opportunity cost, right? Meaning all the time you're missing out on compounding growth by having that same money invested is lost just in time base, right? So again, I try to talk about, it's not that I'm not aware of the financial aspect of the cards. My care factor, how much, my cards are worth is they're so low. I don't even know how much my cards are worth. I don't have a spreadsheet of any kind. I don't track it. I don't care. Like, I kind of don't. I even had the opportunity. I had 8 Caltrops from Urza's Destiny sitting in a box upstairs in my, commons and uncommon stuff. I still have like 25 Lotus Petals from Tempest. I have all these cards that end up popping off, every so often. I can't even remember. There's a blue card, Seagate Lore Master or something that recently popped off. I bought like 600 rares for like $40 or something, and there was like 18 of those in that box. Love you too, Sherry Vegas. I can't even be fucked to put them in an envelope and send them to Card Kingdom for store credit, or like that's the level of financial engagement that I have with Magic. And it's not like, aren't I great? It's not a weird flex. It's just that I'm a collector. I like having them. I like when I go up and look in the box. Yeah, I got 25 Lotus Petals. If I sold them out at, we'll call it $25 a piece, now I don't have 25 Lotus Petals anymore. and what am I going to do?
10? Yeah.
What would that be? Like around $500 or something? Somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah.
And then by the time, all the shipping and stuff is done and whatever, less than $500.
Yeah. Call it.
Honestly,
3.
I'd rather have the 25 Lotus Petals. Just someday, who knows? Maybe somebody needs 4 Lotus Petals, and I'm like, hey, Pat,
I got you, buddy. Yeah.
Bam. You're like, really? Yeah, really. And that's kind of how I view my collection. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm pretty sure most people have some non-canonical, some non-in-a-box kind of relationship with Magic, meaning we all don't fit, one size mold.
Yeah.
So we're all somewhere in between investor, collector, and player, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a lot like some of those strength diagrams you see where it'll be like a weird shaped polygon where it's strength is one portion of it, dexterity, focus, and as you grow, your shape changes in general. And I think that no single person participates in Magic or trading card games pretty much in general in the same way.
Right.
And it's definitely shifted for me a whole lot throughout the years. I mean, in just the lifespan of my participation here on the channel, how I've bought and how I've sold definitely has changed a whole heck of a lot, especially with like how I play. That's been one of the biggest things. I mean, when I first started here on the channel, Commander Raids wasn't a thing, and that development was huge for my longevity in the game. I think if it wasn't for that, I probably would have been definitely very faltering now, or absolutely focused on just the monetary aspect of it. Buy low, sell high, take the risks. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely a couple of times where I spend more than an average person would have at a couple of points. Final Fantasy is a great example of it, right? I spent more than most people would, couple $100 on buying boxes and whatnot, and I definitely turned a profit on it. But that was, for me, I thought, an easy win. But it was that investor flipper aspect. That's where that mindset was. It was, I'll open one box so I can have fun with the guys on the stream, and it's going to be completely paid for and more. That was fun, but that's just not where I am anymore with Magic. And I think that that's a great stone for me to turn, is realizing that in my own career in Magic.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll, be gracious enough, like you just said, that it changes. I didn't become a sealed collector until COVID, really. And I didn't even do it on purpose. I just I finally have the funds. Now I have the desire. Let me get some extra boxes. And it started off for sure as, let me get them now before they go up, especially with Commander Legends, right? I have 4 cases of it sealed, plus the box or 2 loose. And I've already opened like 6 or 8 boxes, right? Like I have definitely put a significant amount of money into Commander Legends. And I wanted to get the boxes so that in the future, if they really went to, like Rudy was saying, $200, which we're getting closer, but I think he was expecting like 18 months to 2 years for him to hit $200.
Yeah.
He's a bit off base from time to time. He's like a broken clock that's, at least right twice a day. But I bought them with the intent of having them cheaper than I would in the future, right? I had the space, I had the will, I have the long-term vision to say, I don't know exactly what I'm going to get them for, but I want to get them so I have them. I'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, or not wanting to pay. Like I would love to crack the Urza block, and do some drafting there. And I mean, I don't even know anymore if I'd want to do that. Like I want only the blocks that we could crack and draft or supplement a draft of Commander Raids for. I pretty much don't want to play anything other than Commander Raids, like almost exclusively. So without Commander Raids, you're right, I would have a very different interaction with Magic. So that's changed. But even like I said, the sealed is only 5 years old ish that I've been collecting, and why do I have them? I don't know. I like looking at them. I certainly have way more than I'm ever going to open, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to sell them either, right? So I'm in this very weird spot. But that is certainly an evolution, even from when I first started collecting sealed, which I didn't even realize I was collecting sealed. In all honesty, I was like, I'll have a couple extra boxes around in case some friends come over and I ever want to draft or something. But as the collection grew, I wanted more. I realized I like how that looks on the shelf. I like how it makes me feel when I come down here and look at the shelf and go, I like having that. I want to keep that. I want to make it grow. And odd enough, the more I have, the less I want to open it.
Well, it keeps it, in that condition. I can understand that once you get to a certain tipping point,
And it's kind of like money, right? Like people who don't have any money, if they get 400 extra bucks or a $2,000 stimulus check, boom, that's gone. Like it's spent before like the balance can even show up on a statement. And
yeah. Oh, dude.
And they're the people that they need to save it the most. They're going to be the most screwed that have nothing, but they're the ones that spend, as far as a percentage of what they have, like millions of times more than what even a millionaire would have. They would spend 10 million times more of what they have than what even a millionaire spends of his own money, right? And
there's some adage about if you took all the money from all the people in the world and you divided it back up equally, eventually it would filter back to about the same proportions it was previously.
Oh, if you're talking about because the poor mentality will spend it anyway. Yeah. I mean that's the reason they're in the spot they're in.
When they announce this next stimulus check that's supposedly coming at some point, right? We both know people that are going to create new debt in anticipation of that as a
absolutely. I'll bet you there's people already. I think we already talked about that on an after show. So here you go.
People watching. As long as we don't count Sherry, there's 3 people watching. Yeah.
Okay.
It might be one of them. Like,
I'm just saying. Well, okay. There's people that might watch this afterwards, but I think we stated it on one of our shows before that there's people, I'll guarantee you, that in anticipation of getting that have already absorbed more debt. Maybe not $2,000 worth, but at least $1,000 worth of more debt because they know they're going to pay it off. And these are the same type of people that think it's a great idea
to pay it off.
Yeah. And these are the same people that are going to say, oh, well, I'll, if it's delayed, I'll just get another 0 interest rate credit card to lump this onto. Like,
just,
the risk
onto a new one.
The risk is just absurd that these people take. When people should just take, you remember that movie, What About Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Bill Murray. Baby steps, folks. When it comes to money, baby steps. If you get $100 this Christmas, just take $10. I would say at least $50 of that $100 you weren't expecting to get and put it into a high yield savings. And then every time you get
Laurel Road, no.
any unexpected windfall, like just start saving half of that, right? Money you didn't expect.
Make a bunch. I mean, that's one of the fun things about like the retirement calculators and stuff I use is you can see, okay, 30 years from now, it's going to be X millions of dollars, right? And you can see how much of that value came from contributions versus growth.
Sure.
And it is an incredible like comparison.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot literally of people don't understand.
Like if you're doing it for like 30 years and you look at the balances by the end, you've only contributed like maybe 20 to 30% of the total balance if it ends up being like 1.5 million. And that means somewhere between 70 and 80% is growth so long as you have discipline. But the reason it grows now if everybody started doing that, guess what? You wouldn't have that kind of exponential growth. Sorry, I hate to say it, but you just wouldn't. Because if everybody started being responsible, then you wouldn't get that kind of growth on your capital.
You don't think so?
No, it's not magic. What you're doing by doing that, by having the discipline and not spending the money, is you're getting paid for other people to spend their money.
No, I can see that standpoint because with more people having pocket money to go and blow as the end user / consumer, like to go and buy Taco Bell, right? I'm going to go and get that extra guacamole. I'm going to spend my money instead of putting that guacamole money away, right? And then investing it in Taco Bell as a company. Taco Bell as a company wouldn't do well if it didn't have the end consumers.
Right.
So you do need that balance. And realistically, just how it goes, as fucking Machiavellian as it sounds, you just end up getting more poor people than rich people in a capitalist society. Like,
well, there's rip and ship. That's got to be Lance, and talk about somebody who knows money. I'm not gonna express, but I'm gonna say that guy knows money. Right. And speaking of which, Lance, gosh, we would really love to have you as a follow-up on this show. You came out and you were a wonderful guest years ago on this show, and I would love to have you on here again to do a follow-up, because you have had tremendous success since the last time you were here as a guest, and I support that, and I think it's wonderful. I'd love to hear your story, love to hear how you did it, and I think other people might be interested as well to hear the story. Oh, it's definitely been years.
Yeah, it's gone fast, surprising as it is. I mean,
I think you were one of the first,
nose of the grind
guests, wasn't he? He was one of the first 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He might even be.
We should try leaning back more into getting guests on. I definitely it's been a lot more focused.
I want to do a follow up with Jim from Recess Games again too. We had him on around the release of Final Fantasy, so it hasn't been that long. But I
Taco Bell, when it hits.
Time flies when you're eating the guac.
That Taco Bell.
You got to have that guac, man. Got to have people buying that guac. And it's the same thing with all things. But speaking of which, what is your take on what you see happening have you been following like the Gone Rogue Games and these other content creators? Love to hear your take on it, Lance. Have you seen any fluctuation in mania, or people buying, pulling back, buying more, buying less, buying the same? I'd love to hear that from you. God, we really need to have you on the show. But from what I've seen, it seems to be doing fine. How much WotC is tuning the knobs, I don't really know. I think that finally Spider-Man and Avatar have at least stabilized a bit. Because it shot up to the moon. You can't have.
No, it's funny. I chuckle because one of the last Magic the Gathering videos I watched was by Pleasant Kenobi, and it was just like a stock market crash chart with the Spider-Man collector box right there, and it was like their time has come. And it was like, yeah, I kind of bet. Saying here, feels like it slowed down some, but that's common for this stream for the holidays, as purchases for yourself and people need money for gifts.
So you're not shooting up the signal flares saying, oh my gosh, the market is vacating en masse. And I want to put some things into perspective with all these people that looked at like the Spider-Man collector boxes and the Avatar collector boxes and, ergo the upcoming Lorwyn collector boxes. First off, let's rewind the clock, go back before Tarkir, right? We're not even talking a year ago, folks. I was about to say, and let's talk about what that cost means, Lance. So Lance said no, and Spider-Man may have crashed, but it's still above cost. So here's the thing, even with that, if you go back to like Aether Drift and Innistrad Remastered, those things didn't take off to the moon. People are looking at the one outlier, the Lord of the Rings collector box holiday edition, that really skyrocketed, and I think kind of at the same time, so did the your favorite, the Fallout, right?
The Fallout.
It was just 2 oddball products that did something anomalous that made the market chase them and go, oh, all collector boxes must be worth thousands of dollars, right? And then along came Final Fantasy, and people were like, oh my God, I gotta have it. And, of course, there was a large market out there for the Final Fantasy, but people are taking that as where prices should be. And that's just insane. That is not the history, even of collector boxes themselves. If you look just like maybe 2 years ago at this time, when was it that like the Crimson Vow and the, what was the other one? Midnight Hunt. Those collector boxes were dumped on Amazon for like $79 a piece.
I definitely got one of the Crimson Vow collector, and I want to say it was 111 shipped.
Okay, I think Rudy stated that it was like an all-time dump low. It doesn't matter. The point is, they weren't thousands of dollars, and they didn't follow the same skyrocketing pattern. And I get it. There was a different era, and they're overprinted, and fine. But there are other boxes. Look at Aether Drift, not in the overprinted era. After the Lord of the Rings Holiday Edition, it didn't take off to the moon. Like,
I don't know if the piss-colored land really helped them a lot, though.
Okay, my point is, people just look at these things without doing much analysis and saying, "Oh, well, here's one data point."
Yeah,
outside the norm.
And do not get me wrong. I Corey a collector. That was a smart purchase, but no, I'm just fucking.
No, I would say that at the time you got it, I think they were, but you were like ripping them at the time. I bet you wish you had them still sealed now, but
that's like one of the
your opportunity cost. Maybe.
Do you ever like? No, I don't like feel bad about opening wrappers. Like I don't really ever think I do. Yeah,
and that means that you're doing it right. Right? Yeah. If you don't feel bad, then you're doing it right. Like if it makes you feel all right with it, that means that you have done it somewhat right. Now, if you say you don't feel bad about ripping the wrappers, but you look at your bank statement and say, I feel bad about spending, well, that's a different issue. But
yeah. No, I don't get into those spots. Yeah.
You know, I'm still going to say I think Spider-Man is still overpriced. Same thing with Avatar, overpriced. I'm going to say it. The Lorwyn, I think, is overpriced. I think $200 is sort of the threshold where those collector boxes really should be. And even if there's a IP premium on it, at most $300 MSRP, but that feels absurd.
Well, you're lucky, Bob. The IP. If you think the price of Avatar is too expensive, if you're a savvy Magic the Gathering arena player, you can play in their Play to Win event coming up December 26th to the 28th, and you can actually win a sealed box of Avatar play boosters.
No thanks. They've been doing that for a while.
Hey man, I'm just just trying to do the Magic the Gathering creator. Like that's our infomercial part. Like, hey guys,
you think they're ever going to sponsor us? WotC would shit on us, like, and you know what? I would shit on them, and I would tell them immediately. WotC will never be our sponsor. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Magic the Gathering will never be our sponsor. Matter of fact, I can't think of anybody except MPC that would even really want to be our sponsor. Maybe Katana Sleeves, and that's because I'm going to give it straight. Like if I think it's a shit product, I'm going to say WotC, that sucked, dude. I made Mark Rosewater get up and walk away from our table because I made him uncomfortable.
I mean, realistically, if Make Playing Cards and their printers are the ones that manufactured Magic the Gathering cards, they'd probably just be a better product.
Oh, you mean the cards? Probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I even reached out to MPC, and they basically told me to get.
Coach was one of the three who spends irresponsibly in Magic the Gathering.
Well, I think you were saying he's one of the three that was actually.
Yeah, no, I'm just screwing with you.
But having a great time, Coach. Hopefully your holiday season is going well. Whatever you're doing, I know you're like I picture you like a mountain man kind of guy out in the woods, chopping down logs, burning them in the potbelly stove in your house.
I also imagine that, but I've met Coach before, so like
he seems like a manly man. To me.
Oh yeah, he's not like. Don't look him in the eyes when you shake your hand because it's gonna hurt. Yeah,
well, I'm good. Nah, Coach, I have that.
Oh yeah, that guy definitely has like a chainsaw and like 2-stroke gasoline.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he probably knows how to properly oil his chainsaw blade.
Yeah, right.
He might even have a sharpener for that fucking thing.
And what up, TCG dude?
But and this is all praise, Coach, if you're listening. I'm not bashing on you. I'm praising you for being not cut from the die that society is trying to shove you into as a male figure. Go ahead and grunt every once in a while. It's fine. You're allowed.
Tim Allen.
At any rate, speaking about grunting, how is everybody doing for their holiday shopping / gift wrapping? I walk near my Christmas tree and I say this all the time. Christmas. It's like
so the only person I bought stuff for was myself. And I gotta say,
you didn't buy me anything, scumbag.
Did not buy you anything. I bought myself a Tesla. So I mean, nothing to do with Magic the Gathering, but I'm happy with that. I played Legendary and speaking about cardboard conversation, drifting away from Magic a little bit because Magic tends to devolve down into like financial stuff and kind of almost beating the same drum over and over again.
I haven't seen any cards that make me want to build a Commander Raids deck. Really, like, you know, the one that still, just so y'all know, when we were on the member stream, there's this guy that I kind of tossed the challenge out to both Pat and Matt to say, hey, build a Commander Raids deck with this guy. Neither one of them knew what the Secret Council was. And it was so good. Wow, those colors are really washed out on the filter. But it was really powerful for a Commander Raid, so you can take a screenshot of that. And it's like a 10-cent card, right? And I think it's a great starting commander for Commander Raids. And I said, why don't we each build one and we play all three of them, Sird and the Shipwright decks, and see how they do. Secret Lair Tesla coming in 2026.
I wonder if Elon is into Magic. I'm glad he has. What's weird to me though, Bob? Okay,
he would pay somebody. He'd pay somebody to build a deck for him.
That's what I was thinking. Is like.
It's like PoE too.
About how like there's not enough range, so it's only going to be like 6 cards in the pack or some shit, and then you also have to do it like he didn't make it, you know.
Well, are you familiar with what he did with Path of Exile too?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, he would just hire somebody to build him the best deck in the world, and then he would pilot that.
That's what like Tesla, the car company, is. It's not like he designed any of that shit. He didn't come out with the idea of autopilot. He didn't come out with the octo valve or any of that shit. He didn't come up with the electric car by any stretch. He's a rich dude that bought a company that put more money into it.
You know, there are 2 people, interestingly, that I thought of this week while watching. You've already successfully dragged me away from the legendary encounter I had with Miss Sherry Vegas yesterday playing some Matrix. We'll get back to that in a second, just because I want to talk about something other than Magic. But speaking of Magic, I was watching Caleb Hammer get interviewed by the short guy, Graham somebody or other. And he was talking about Boogie, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Boogie 298 or whatever. I know what you're talking about. The iced coffee hour.
One of the interesting snippets from that is Caleb said, he was talking about how Boogie was actually a very pleasant guy off screen, but he's
that was a persona he
said, I don't play Magic, but I'd be willing to learn if he wanted to play. I'm like, damn, Caleb. Well, open the door. Hey, so Caleb Hammer, if you ever catch this, if somebody sends this to you, come learn how to play Commander Raids with us. I mean, we won't even need to put you on camera. Like, I just want to teach people stuff. I think it's the best way to learn Magic personally, but come check us out. Come take a look. And if you like it, say a couple words about it. That would really help spread it. At any rate, the other one I was thinking about, because I don't know why, randomly on one of my YouTube feeds, I saw an interview with Henry Cavill and talking. It was almost kind of insulting.
Such a nerd. God.
Well, but it was like a nerd show interviewing him.
Yeah.
And they were almost nerd shaming him. Like, is it ever awkward if, like one of your friends comes over or somebody and you're sitting there painting one of your Warhammer figurines? And I'm like, why should that be embarrassing? The dude's got nothing to prove. He's better looking than 99.9% of humanity will ever be. He's more successful than 99.9% of humanity.
It reminds me, like, one of my first friends I made, like, when I got out of high school and I was becoming like a young man, right? And I went over to like visit him at his residence, right? And he was making a fly, like for fly fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the heck are you doing, man? He's like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is one of the things I do in my hobby. And he showed me part of his like collection of things he had made. And I was, at first, like, my gut reaction as a young person was like, I'm going to shame you because you care about something. And it's like, oh, wait, that's dedication. It's just about something I don't have that interaction with. And there is definitely things like the amount of books and stuff I have here that are fantasy related and just like gaming stuff in general, other people would turn their nose up at. And it's like, oh, I was a prick.
I will turn my nose up at some things, but I won't ever shame somebody. Like, for example, I have no desire to cosplay, role play.
I'm really sure
it's not my
furry suits
thing. That's
so I haven't heard of that specific company, but I did actually just watch the Chinese government has pushed forward mandates for companies to start making vehicles that fly under 1,000 meter altitudes, and the hostess for the show literally just got in an unmanned drone and it just picked her up and brought her around like the facility they were working at. It's definitely the next big thing, and I am way more worried about that than cars that drive themselves.
I know a lot about airspace. 10 years Air Force, working on radars and in RAPCONs and control towers and things. I think that there are a lot of problems because most of the things that are going to be under 3,000 meters are going to be VFR anyways. And that's going to be like, you'd have to get rid of the VFR people. It would have to be all autonomous. You couldn't have people just flying shit around, with no defined flight plan.
Yeah, I watched one of these dudes that has an ultralight, and like his feet are like hanging out the bottom, and he's flying over like Virginia woods or whatever. And it is just, I cannot imagine a bunch of people having things like that. Like one of the things they say in like physics and like astronomy in general is that there's no such thing as an unarmed spaceship. When something is moving really fast and it has mass, and if it carries like volatile fuel, that is a missile. And if you got a bunch of people flying those things around and they crash into like the tops of people's houses and shit like that, there's wildfires all the time. It's just way more dangerous.
I don't know. Maybe they'll make it safe enough to where it's feasible, but I think it's going to be they've got a long way to go before you get to that area. Like and I'm not even really all that familiar with like flight regulations and things and all the different designed airspace and the different rules, the bubbles over cities and whatnot. Because once you get into like a city, it gets even crazier with like, because there's towers and there's, tall buildings and there's guy wires and there's, electric wires and there's changes in terrain and there's all kinds of stuff. So,
well, it's an ever increasing like flight corridor as well. If Amazon is trying to do all these like drone deliveries and shit too, how are people going to be able to interact with them?
Well, the only even with the limited amount of air traffic that's already up there, and you're talking about 10xing that, like the reason you need those it would get pretty nutty pretty quick, and I think that there's a lot of risk there. And not that I'm too risk averse, but I don't even want self-driving cars yet, let alone.
Dude, I cannot tell you, Bob. It is the best thing. It's like the car is the chauffeur. Next level, game changing, literally game changing.
It's great until you have some asshole who wants to grief you on the road and just jam his car into the side of yours, because people will just figure out how to hit self-driving cars just for fun, just because people do bad shit.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like the players in video games that, they just want to grief you, not because it helps them in any way, but it just their jollies are to make people you have a bad day.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I get that.
And you have like that asshole that went around shooting those people at Brown and MIT. And there's just bad people, bad actors out there, folks. And I think that opens up, both of those open up avenues to where,
well, that was one of the things.
Laser pointers are playing.
My dad asked me about that. He was like, "Are you worried about all the politics, the shit about that with Elon and whatnot? Are you worried that people are going to be angry at you for driving a Tesla?" I was like, "I don't give a shit. Like, I do not care."
Yeah. Anyways, back to cardboard. We played. I think we played Legendary Alien with you.
Yeah.
There's another one I have, Legendary Matrix. I think I pointed it out when we were at Sweets and Geeks.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. I was like, what Matrix game were you able to play?
and it's interesting, and it was actually pretty straightforward and almost too easy until it got to the end game on the first 3 scenarios. So I need to play some of the other scenarios. But then it was, you could ask Jerry Vegas, it was the tale of 2 games. Like, it was a very different game. So there's like a total of 3 scenarios with 2 to 3 parts each. And on the third part of the third scenario, it was an entirely different game than the other 8 parts. Like, night and day different. And the difficulty level was insanely different. Almost like if you're figuring it's a sports game, something like, American football. And it'd be like if overtime was 15 seconds long. Like, that's all you got. Maybe 30 seconds. Yeah, if overtime only lasted 30 seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds each to do something.
That's not much at all.
It was like it changed the pace of the game so rapidly. So if any of you are out there and you're looking at getting a Legendary Encounters game, the unfortunate part is, and I don't understand Upper Deck, right? I don't know if you remember when Jim was on here, he said he refused to carry their product because their profit margins are just way too thin. It's a very popular game, Legendary Encounters, and there's a bunch of different versions. There's Firefly, Matrix, Marvel, Alien, Predator, even Big Trouble in Little China, and there might even be more that I'm unaware of. And it is a game. It's a legit game made by Upper Deck. However, they don't like reprint. I don't understand. It's not a collectible, but they have a massively popular game in the Aliens, and it's widely considered the best version of Legendary Encounters. But they made it like during this print run, and that's it. Like the only way you can get a copy of it, it's not going to be in a game store anymore. So like that just seems bad that you wouldn't have the product available, even in limited quantities, right? Like, print up a whole bunch of them and only release, I don't know, 100 boxes a year at Christmas or something. But
it does seem odd to say.
Like, why would you not print the full line? And that's the most popular one of these, and they're not like one size fits all. They all have different mechanics in them, the different flavors of each. So it seems very odd. Like, it can't be that expensive for them to print a bunch of cards, right, and put it in a cardboard box. Like, talk to WotC. Like, there's no problem
all
with
the
reprinting
specialized
it.
packaging, like all the little things that they have to make with it.
There's nothing else with it. There's a play mat. That's it. There's a neoprene play mat, which, by the way, you could always just have them printed on Amazon, like cheap, about $15 a piece. So I'm sure if they ordered a bunch of those play mats, like, there's not a lot with it. There's not like plastic pieces and parts. It's just cards and a play mat.
Those Legion's Realms at War play mats that the creator of it signed for me. Terrible game. Really nice guy. Bad game.
And I don't know what you and Matt were talking about. That art was terrible.
Yup.
That looked like, no offense to bash that guy, and I appreciate him,
What's weird is some of them looked good. Like, it felt as though there were 2 different generations of artwork when it first.
I'm talking about the one you guys showed me. The one that looked like it was an 18-year-old or like a 14-year-old.
One up on its side, like straight the fuck up, because it was so curled.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just like the art that was on it. It looked like my notebooks from like junior high or high school. Like, the art was that bad. Ooh, wow. Like, if you want to bring up some of the images, like, golly. I know art's subjective, but that was just bad.
Dirty my algorithm. Coach and I live very close to each other.
Well, I'm hoping when I retire that I can make a trip out there, and I intend to get all of you folks, you, Coach, BBD, Dual Brain, I feel like I'm missing somebody in that mix. but at least all you folks, and BBD's crew, and get together and have like a mini BobCon. Like I don't know how far is like. I think Dave wanted to be somewhere near Boston. I don't know how far that is.
Dave lives near Boston. That's the thing. Is he doesn't want to go anywhere. He's an old man.
But how far? Like where could we meet between Boston and you?
There's pretty much fuck all between Boston and me, except like a big road.
Okay. Yeah. So that's not a big selling feature for me to try to.
Also, driving to Boston from here is like 3 hours, maybe. Like,
okay, so what's an hour and a half between you and Boston?
Pretty much like fuck all nothing, like Springfield, Mass. And there is no way I'm staying in Springfield. I don't smoke crack anymore.
Okay. Is there any non-crack town between you guys?
I mean, yeah, but it's going to be like a little podunk nowhere Massachusetts town. It'll be nice enough and everything, but it's going to be like...
Where did they do the wicked tuna fishing? Gloucester?
Maybe. I am unfamiliar with it.
Where's Gloucester, Mass?
Not too far from Boston, I think.
I could go do some fishing.
Gloucester, Mass.
But it sounds like Boston, and I assume you're even farther away from New York City.
Yeah, New York's like a solid 6-hour drive from where I live. Boston's like I've driven to Boston and back for a day trip a couple of times.
I'm not a big camper, Coach. I like my comforts. I'm a comfort person at this point, so I want some places going to be a little comfortable. At any rate, still looking to do that. Maybe I'll have to make 2 trips, one for the Boston crew. Where is Pause, by the way? Is he closer to Boston?
No, he still lives in Vermont, just like southern Vermont. He's maybe an hour south from here.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out,
right?
Because I don't know if I want to make 2 trips, but I kind of owe all you guys. You came out here. Big Box Dave came out here.
Starting to figure out a trip to come and see you guys again.
That'd be dope.
Self-driving car kind of thing.
Oh shit! So plan on you never making it.
Oh, get out of here with that shit. Such haters.
I just
have you ever been in one that does full self-driving or like autopilot or any of that shit?
But I've never been in a transvestite either, and that doesn't mean that I don't want to be in one.
Yeah, but do you think that they could drive well? The
transvestite or the self-driving car? So I don't know, man.
I've definitely been with friends that I think I've definitely married at least one person that I think drives worse than Teslas.
Oh wow, I'm so glad you went there.
Hey, I didn't say specifically that she was from.
Yeah, let's not go down that road. Let's be very holiday. So we're about to wrap up here for the regular show, folks. Before we do, what do you guys? Do you have any? Oh, well, wow. The Flesh and Blood ban. Wow, I didn't see exactly what they banned, but Flesh and Blood has really fallen off the radar. I think because of they kind of went with the Game Piece Army, meaning that they just printed the shit out of everything to the point where they've completely driven away. Like they needed to drive away the flippers, right? The scalper flippers that were making it impossible for the players to get the product. But they went so far in the other direction that nobody's interested in having it, not even as a collectible. The collectible I have
the whole first run product, like first edition stuff, was an absolute draw. That was one of the first things that interested me as a consumer at all in it.
Sure, there was
a first edition box of Tales of Aria, just like everybody else. Of course, we still have first edition boxes because they went nuts with it. And yeah, in so many different ways, is it a good game? If like we sit down and we play against each other, it's a pretty fun time once you learn it and you get into it. It's a nice slugfest. It is a poorly managed collectible in so many different aspects. And they've broken promises over and over too. I mean, with like some of their biggest cards, I believe Findle Spring Cloak or something like that, multi-$100 card. And they're like, we'll never reprint this. And then they print it like the worst looking border, crashes the market. They do it over and over.
Yeah.
So I guess looking
not
at some of the classic constructed stuff or Flesh and Blood on their banned and restricted, a lot of these seem to come from their most recent set. So it's very interesting.
And you know, they're going to run into the same brick wall that virtually every other game, and not just video games, but card games. And Lorcana's running into the same issue, and One Piece is running into the same issue. In order to encourage people to buy new sets, they feel they have to power creep them. And when you start power creeping, what you end up doing inevitably is you make the original collectible ones that people paid through the nose for worthless. You like,
oh my god, yeah, people with like failed out Birds of Paradise, and now it's the most meh.
Like it's just it's sad to watch them destroy their own collectible, and that, you know, looping all the way back to the top of the hour, you know, that you have great games that are card games that are non-collectible, but they don't have the hype, and they don't sell through, and they don't have the exposure. And these companies want to have the exposure, they want to have the sell through. So there are two ways to really continue to grow. And number one is power creep. That's sort of like the thing that they lean into the most. The problem with power creep is you also make the older cards less desirable. They like look at 90% of 95% of the reserve list. You look at them and go, I wouldn't play with that garbage. It's a terrible card.
Yeah.
Sentinel Hierophants, I think, is one of them, or Sentinel Centaur, one of those two in Urza Saga. Yeah, I'd be surprised if that's more than a 50-cent card, and it's only 50 cents because it's on the reserve list. So you end up in this very weird territory where either you A, reprint cards, making them worthless, or B, power creep, again, making the original cards worthless. Magic's one of the few that's been able to resist it, but I think even now you're seeing that the money's moving to the newer products because, you know, most people, okay, I got, you know, $5,000, but I can't buy a Black Lotus, so I'll buy $5,000 worth of, you know, Final Fantasy boxes. It makes me feel good that I can actually participate in. But you're seeing a lot of these games, like Lorcana's got a real problem where they're power creeping, and they don't have multiple formats that make their original cards relevant, right? What saved Magic, and realistically it saved it around the COVID era,
Commander,
but Commander was out for years before that, right? And it hadn't saved it. It just got some very weird exposure, got extra money from stimulus. It got, you know, bored people looking online, some hype from Jake. What was his name? Jake Paul? Was that the guy who?
Oh, yeah.
Chief Wahoo's on the reserve list. He sure is. He's not a thing anymore. Not allowed to have this hat. With all the pricing.
Speaking of Wahoo,
yeah, I agree.
It is just about that time to cowabunga into our members.
Yeah. Oh, man. Stream. I have so much more to say, folks, but I've run out of runway here.
Right. You'll have to tune in over there. Until next week, it's been absolutely incredible. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure if you had fun with us this evening that you hit that like video, subscribe if you want more, become a member if you just can't stop, because we are going live in just a few minutes again. So click the link, pick up the post. I made a post on the channel and all that stuff. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Hold on. Before we clock out, if you celebrate it, have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Love your loved ones, love your family, love your neighbor, love the mailman, love yourself. Have a Merry Christmas.